Alrighty, so we are going to be going over Meyer's square. This is a cutting diagram from Meyer's Art of Combat, and it's used to teach a couple different things, learning to flow and chain the basic cuts together, as well as understand some of the principles that Meyer wants you to use when chaining strikes together. So a big part of that is drawing the opponent's weapon to the opposite side and opposite height of where you want to land your actual strike. So essentially, the pattern that I use is that you need to start from all four openings. So we have our dominant upper opening, dominant lower opening, non-dominant upper opening, non-dominant lower opening. So what we're going to do is, to start off, we're going to start a series of 4 cuts from our dominant upper opening in Vom Tag. This can be done with stepping. This can be done without stepping. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to step. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut our dominant Oberhau from here. Now, the important thing is you actually need to make sure you finish the strike with good structure. The rule is, whatever cut you just did, you want to do a cut that comes up the opposite direction. So I cut down on this plane, and I want to make sure my next cut comes up that cutting line. So because we're doing all long edge, that means I will turn my sword like this and cut here. All right, so now my sword is up in here. So for the third cut, I need to go same side of the body, but opposite height. So in that case, that means my third cut needs to start from down here. So this is going to be my Unterhau on my dominant side. So here, and then same rule applies. I just cut up this cut line. Now I need to cut back down this cut line. So there. That's the first 4 cuts. I've started 4 cuts from this opening, which means I need to go through all 3 other openings and start 4 cuts from those openings as well. So that means I've already done 4 cuts starting from this opening. I am going to start a series of 4 cuts from this opening. Conveniently, that's also where my sword currently is. So I'm just going to turn my sword this way so that my knuckles are forward, and thus my long edge is forward as well. So then we're going to cut up. So the same rule applies. We need to return down that same cutting line. So I'm just going to push my hands this way to push the pommel to the center, return that cut. For the third cut, again, the rule is same side of the body, opposite height. So then I'm going to bring the sword up to here. I'm going to cut here. Again, the rule is I just cut down this line. I need to cut back up it. Cut back up. Okay, so now I've cut 4 cuts starting from this opening, and I need 4 cuts starting from this opening. These are done. So that means I need to transition to this side. So this is the one transition that does not have you stepping with the passing step. It's going to be a simple step. So the sword ends up here. We're going to bring it around like this, and we're going to cut with a simple step forward. Okay, so that's our first cut starting from this opening. We need to return back up that same cutting line. So cut here, right? All right, so now for our third cut, we need to start that third cut on the opposite height of the first cut. First cut originated here, so that means we need to start the cut from here, cut up, and as the rule says, we need to cut back down that line for our fourth cut. Okay, so now we've started cuts from here, this opening, this opening, this opening, so that means we're going to start the last 4 cuts from this opening. Conveniently, again, the sword is already also here. So we're just going to turn our long edge forward, cut up. All right, the rule says for our second cut, we cut back down that same, or back up that same cutting line. So we cut this line. Again, the third cut has to be same side, opposite height. So I'll bring my sword up here, cut down. All right, and then for the last strike, my sword's already in Albert on my right side. I'm going to turn my long edge forward, cut up. And then to reset the sequence, I'm just going to pass back into high Vom Tag like this. And then I have ended the sequence of Meyer's square.